Hello and welcome back. This is Joanna the Medium. I'm also an intuitive coach. Welcome to your July 2017 readings. As always, thank you so much for watching, for sharing, and for liking. If you would like a private session with me just to see how life goes on with you or what you would like to have clarity on, I have included that information down below for you. Also, I will be away for a big part of July, which means August readings will be either late or I will do them halfway through August, but I will also include September. I may also do a quick mid-month August, these readings will be much shorter. So I will have to see what I do, but I'm already saying to you, just so you know, they won't be posted August 1st because I just won't be able to. There's just not enough time for me to do all of it. Also, 6-month readings from July until December will be posted on Vimeo in the next couple of weeks, and I will probably post a video on that once it's ready. I just want to say July seems to be a fantastic month for most of the signs. Actually, there's nothing here that I can remember that's negative. It seems to be a pretty good energy. A lot of transformations, a lot of transitions, but these are all fantastic energies. I have tried to make the readings shorter because I do realize many of you don't have time to listen to me for 35 minutes. And they just did not go as planned. So most of them are over 30 minutes. I do apologize for that. I will do my best to keep them shorter because not only is the recording of them tremendously time consuming, but it also takes a lot longer to download. So I will keep them a little bit shorter while still being able to give you as much information as I can. Also, is there anything else? I feel that's it. Of course, always thank you so much for watching and for liking or subscribing. Please comment if you would like to as to how this affects you, and always listen to your other signs, your moon sign and your rising sign, as well as your sun sign, because oftentimes these signs will give you much more clarity with regards to what goes on with you. And I think that's all I have left. I'm supposed to say good luck to somebody, but good luck to everybody. Good luck to all of us. And without further ado, let's get started on July readings. I hope you enjoy them. Have a wonderful month. Take care. Hello Pisces, this is going to be a reading for the month of July. Let's get started. As I was meditating for your sign, when I was connecting to the overall energy for the month of July, I kept seeing you swimming with the stream. So typically when I see a boat and you are in a boat swimming with the stream, you are swimming with the current of life as opposed to against the current. Swimming against the current, whether it's you're swimming or you're in a boat, swimming against the current is very difficult, is very arduous, and oftentimes a lot of effort does not yield a lot of results. So the fact that this was being shown to me, it signifies that in the month of July, it's going to feel like smooth sailing, even though it was on a boat. The energies are congruent with feeling much more at peace emotionally, hence also swimming with the stream, and the water to me represents emotions. And although you are paddling, it's not yet like you are battling the waves, but you are you're swimming with the stream, you're swimming with the current of life. So and also here it's a turnaround, so it sounds to me like in the month of June and perhaps even May, and sometimes for April, for some of you in April, things might have been quite rocky emotionally, and it seems to be the waters seems to be calming down. So in July, expect to have more balance emotionally, and also more respite, which is more relaxation time, and more time in relaxation state or in state of peace, as opposed to in a state of turmoil. So that's actually fantastic. The other thing I kept seeing was the card of strength in my mind, or the card of empowerment or power. And I also heard the words letting go. So many of you will experience tremendous peace within your heart. And incidentally, the heart chakra also came up in the health position, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. And so many of you will experience tremendous peace in your heart, and also in your mind, but also overall it will feel like the dust is settling, or the dust has settled. So it sounds to me like there has been some turbulent situations for some of you. I just heard the word divorce, so maybe some of you are coming out of a bitter divorce, or are coming out of a separation, which is never easy, to say the least. I also kept seeing the card of Empress, which is my sign of birth, which is my sign of expansion. It is the number 3, which is the number of expansion. So not only is it a month of more peace, it is also a month of expansion as far as your individuality, meaning you're expanding your horizons. You may be looking at things in a different way. You're expanding the way you see things. Your point of views are expanding. Your overall outlook on life is expanding. So expansion to me is fantastic. Sometimes expansion can feel a little bit overwhelming because we are pressing against our comfort barriers. And whenever that happens and we enter something new, it often feels a little bit uncomfortable. It would be similar to buying a pair of new shoes, especially ladies, if you like shoes, high heels, for example, and they look fantastic, and you first put them on and they're not that comfortable, and it takes some time to break them in, and they often become, a perfect fit. So that's the metaphor. Expansion is great, and the month of July seems to be very apropos expansion, passion, I hear, and also a lot more peace than what you're used to. And that's what I got as far as the overall energy. And then I asked for the card. So the card that came out, which is actually interesting, is the Two of Cups. So the Two of Cups is a card of union. I actually heard the card of union. So whether it is a brand new relationship, whether it is a relationship with work, whether it is a collaboration with another person, it doesn't have to be necessarily romantic in this scenario, because it is the overall energy. It is a month of choices. It is a month of looking outside of yourself and also outside of the box, which is also expansion. It is a month of becoming more familiar with yourself. So this also to me represents relationship with yourself. Yes, it does show 2 people here, but I get this also as renewed relationship with yourself. So particularly for those of you who have left a relationship, either a partnership, relationship, work situation, any kind of relationship that has been making you like that has been holding you down, there's going to be a renewed sense of your identity, which also represents common waters, and maybe that's why they're saying you're going to feel much more at peace. Also, there's a feeling of being much more rooted than having been in the past. And I'm being drawn to April in particular. So maybe for some of you, something has transpired in April, or something has been going on since April. And there seems to be either a combination of that, or whatever the April is for some of you, this is going to make sense. For some of you, this could be a relationship with a mother, but that's probably just a couple of people. So that is the overall energy. It is also a card of choices, and I think I already said this. And when the card came out, when I heard the word unions, I right away felt a lot of it had to do with partnerships surrounding work area, so around the work area. So some of you might be collaborating with somebody new with regards to work or work type situation, or anything that's financially connected. So whether you are getting in a new work environment, and by the way, I do have a great card for finances here, so we'll talk about that later. Whether you are getting to a new job, whether you are solidifying a brand new commitment with regards to your career, whether it is because somebody else is coming on board and you're going to become collaborating with someone. I heard that, and that was very apparent to me. So for some of you, it's going to be work, and for some of you, it's going to be relationship, and for many of you, this is going to be a relationship with yourself, and the word renewed is very strongly indicated. So that's the overall energy. He keeps showing me the number 2, so I hear the word choices. So some of you will have choices. Maybe it'll be choices around partnerships. Maybe it'll be choices around a move. Maybe these will be choices around work situations and needing to choose a certain path or wanting to choose a certain path. But keep in mind, month of July is a month of expansion. So choices with expansions kind of go hand in hand, but they all seems to be actually very good. And they're saying to me the waters are a lot calmer than before. So for some of you, this is going to be a welcome message. Now, I'm also being shown 0, which is the Fool. And why is he showing this to me? Okay, so for many of you, you are approaching a brand new beginning. So whenever I see the Fool, the words that go with it is new beginnings, obviously, but also don't be a fool. So if you are in a place where choices are presented in front of you, do your due diligence in order to protect yourself, in order to make a smart decision. Now, when I say protect yourself, it doesn't mean because there's something terrible happening or something that you should be afraid of. This is more protection around what is the protection? Just having all the pieces in the right place, putting all the ducks in a row. That's more of this is saying. So the energy of 0 is what I was trying to say, is not like the energy of the magician. The energy of a magician is focused. The zero energy has no focus. So the 0 and the choices, if you are going to be looking at choices, you will be looking at focusing the energy in a certain direction. So it just says to me that many of you are on the brink or on the cusp of starting of having a brand new beginning. Now, moving on to relationships, the card that came up is the 6 of Cups. And actually, when I wrote this, the other thing that I kept seeing is the card of 2 of Swords, not regarding relationship, but just in general. So 2 of Swords is indecisions, and it's also often ideas bouncing and being unsure with regards to what to decide. So that actually is interesting because this is also card 2. So there is choices and decisions, and you might be in a place where you feel a little bit undecisive. I also heard clearly, choose wisely. So again, there's decisions to be made in the month of July. I don't feel they're bad decisions. Actually, no decisions are bad. They're just uncomfortable for us. And the more uncomfortable, the worse they are. But choose wisely was what was shown to me, and I actually heard it. So some decisions coming up for some of you in the month of July. Now, going back to relationships, this is a card of nostalgia to me. It's remembering the good times. It is also a card of letting go to me. And 6 is a card of harmony. So some of you, actually what I wrote here, yes, relationships. I actually heard stand alone and or stand your ground. So for some of you, there is a need for you to stand on your own 2 feet. Now, what does this mean? It means, well, many things. Stand on your own 2 feet. I'm going to ask him to give me some of the examples that you guys are going through. Some of you are remembering the good times and coming to a place in your life where you're either going to be starting a brand new relationship or leaving an existing relationship. So there's 2 separate things. Obviously, it's either one or the other, or staying. But again, there are choices. There's choices coming up in the month of July. So it doesn't surprise me, and it's also Cups. It doesn't surprise me that that's what they're saying here. Some of you need to move on from a relationship in order to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet, or to be able to stand alone for a little while. Why would that be important? Well, confidence is the very first thing I get. So for some of you, if you have been too dependent on someone, it is important for you to gain some confidence. And the best way to do that oftentimes is when we are by ourselves, when we have no one to lean on every day, like a spouse. So it sounds like some of you might be leaving a relationship that you maybe have depended on too much. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could mean relationship in a family or friendship, or some other relationship. If you have been too focused on somebody else's needs, okay, that's interesting. If your focus has been on somebody else's needs and you have neglected your own, you are being urged to stand alone and stand on your own two feet. When we overdo things for other people, and when we forget who we are, or when we forget to do things for ourselves, to take care of ourselves, then when a person leaves or when something happens to the person that we are overdoing things for, we end up feeling lost and empty because our entire life has been devoted to a particular individual, and that particular individual was the focus of our attention. When the person goes away or when they're no longer in our lives, we will often feel lost, like we have no life, like we have no purpose. So I'm saying this for obviously because some of you will understand this, and also some of you need to be able to do this in order to be better off long term. So for some of you, this is about decisions on moving on from a relationship that maybe has been too demanding on you. I heard the word hostile. So obviously, if you're in a hostile relationship, you might be thinking about the good times and realizing they're no longer going to be, and you might need to take a step forward or a step away from it. I also saw the Magician, which is a brand new beginning. So for some of you, you are also having brand new beginnings in the department of relationship. Again, this could be romantic, but not necessarily. Some of you are walking away from something, and it is from someone. For some of you, it's going to be walking away from a family. And I think I got this in another reading. So maybe check your other signs and see if it's consistent. And then I hear the word mother. Some of you are maybe too dependent on your mother, and it's time for you to move on. I just heard and saw the number 23. So maybe you have been living with your mother for 23 years. Maybe you have been taking care of her for 23 years. Or maybe you are 23 years old, and it's time to move on and become independent. Or there's something with the number 23. It could be a date that somehow resonates with you. So if the number 23 resonates with you to some extent, maybe this message is going to hit home a little bit harder than for the rest of you. And I don't think I have anything left on that. I think I covered a little bit on the general energy. I'm not seeing any turmoils. I'm not seeing any fights here, which sometimes I'll see. I'm focusing on an individual who is learning how to be themselves. And whether you're in a relationship, whether you're not in a relationship, the message about stand alone and stand your own ground is probably the biggest message that I can say in this particular instance for July for you guys. Okay. So if this doesn't make sense to you right now, maybe it'll make sense to you towards August, or listen to your other signs. But there's definitely some of you that need to hear this, and you've been contemplating a move and you're not sure. So maybe that will hit home for you. Okay. The next department is wealth and career, and we have the card of karma, or the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is, as you guys know, probably, Wheel of Fortune. The word fortune is self-explanatory. 10 is a number of culminations. 10 is a number of coming to end of cycles. And again, I just heard the word brand new job. So this was mentioned in the overall energy with the overall energy card. But many of you will be either starting over, and the starting over could be in a new place of employment, or in a new frame, with a new frame of mind regarding your work, or maybe just a completely different way of doing things for a living, or whatever is connected to money. All of a sudden, I just heard the word retired. Maybe some of you are retiring pretty soon. And that would certainly be an end of a cycle, but it's a happy one. It is just a phase of moving on to something new in order to enjoy life in a different way. And why is this shown to me in the money department? Well, because when we retire, our finances often, shift a little bit. But because this card is shown to me in upright position, it signifies to me that whatever the changes are, and you have changes coming up, even though there's calm waters in July, most of these are good changes and good outcomes. So for those of you who are leaving a place of employment, or will be leaving, or are thinking of leaving a place of employment, I feel this is an opportune time for you to either plant new seeds or start looking into different possibilities. There seems to be a lot of momentum in the month of July. The energy around it, I see the number 9. So many of you will be ending some things with regards to money, maybe putting things away, maybe buttoning things up, solidifying things, finishing projects, and we'll be starting something new shortly thereafter. And remember, I was seeing the Fool, which is also an energy of 0, a brand new beginning that it's not directed energetically, is just, you're just at the brink of it. So it sounds to me like for those of you who are, well, for all of us, but you, sign of Pisces, work seems to be going okay. I don't see any major, turmoil. Obviously, that's going to be not for all of you, for most of you. But there is an element of moving on towards something different and maybe bigger and better. So it actually feels quite good to me. I don't have a lot more to say about it. I also see people exchanging, money exchanging hands. This could be a loan. This could be you receiving money. And some of the money could be coincidental or accidental. Coincidental as a coincidence or as a surprise. Meaning you're not expecting it. Some of you might be getting bonuses that you've been waiting for quite some time. It's interesting. I'm just seeing a vision. You're at the store and the cashier is putting in whatever you're buying, and the number pops in, and you are so surprised because what you were expecting to pay and what is showing up is way less. So it sounds to me like you'll be getting a deal on something. Maybe you'll be getting a deal on a car. Obviously, nobody will be punching that in on a cash register. But it sounds like there is some surprises in the month of July when it comes to finances. And they're not bad surprises. They're actually the good kind. And I keep hearing the word deal. So some of you might be getting a deal on something and you will be quite surprised because it's either unexpected or the amount is unexpected. And I think that's all I have for the money sector. I also just had someone come in and put a bag of money on my table. And it feels to me like bonus. I'm thinking to myself, bonus. So maybe some of you are receiving bonuses. Interesting time for bonuses, but I mean, everybody has a different structure, different payout structure. And also the money is extra. So it is extra money that's coming in, extra income flowing in the month of July. I also heard the month of August, so it could stretch over to the month of August. And I have been hearing this over the last few readings that I've done. He's stretching me until August. And time is fluid as well. So if some things don't make sense right in July, listening to it at the end, certainly, or middle of the next month, often will make much more sense. So sounds like good things in the department for you, Pisces. Now, moving on to health. The interesting part was that the first card I got. So what I got was, when I was connecting to your health, I saw a vision of someone with hard hat and a flashlight here. So to me, it's someone who would work underneath in a tunnel or in a dark environment, excavation, or maybe something of that sort. I don't know why I was seeing this person. He was a male, obviously could be a female, but it was a male that was shown to me. And I actually have him, I'm trying to see, the letter J pops in. So if you know someone whose name starts with a J, or whose first name has a letter J in it, it could be any letter, not necessarily the first one. Also the last name, but I'm going to go with the first name first. It feels like someone has either breathing problems or heart palpitations. And I feel like it needs to be addressed. So if you know of someone, or if you are someone who works in construction, anywhere where you wear a hard hat, doesn't have to be with a flashlight, but if it's with a flashlight, that's true as well. If you have any breathing problems, or if you have any funny feelings in your chest area, go and get it checked out. I'm not getting that it's anything serious necessarily, but I feel like you've been putting it off for too long. Obviously, if you have any chest pains, obviously get it checked out. But for whatever reason, I saw it so clearly. So somebody has to hear this, and it is to prevent something from happening, not death necessarily, but something that could be, unpleasant. So hopefully that makes sense to someone. The other thing, the card that came up was the card of patience and planning, or it's the card of Seven of Pentacles. It was only shown to me in reverse. So when I saw this card in reverse, I actually wanted to get more clarity, because I wasn't quite getting a lot of information from it, other than I connected to somebody's heart. But this was emotional component. It wasn't necessarily an organic physical element about heart. And I asked my guide what it is that I'm sensing, and they said emotional heartache or emotional health. And I said, okay, show me what this is about. And they said it's heart chakra. So I said, okay, show me more. And the heart chakra card actually came up. So it actually flew out of the deck. I love when this happens, because I ask them all the time, and then they deliver. So some of you, and this is emotional health, mental health, are dealing with a heartache or a broken heart. Obviously, if you're dealing with having some heart issues, obviously take care of that. But that's not necessarily what I was getting. At least that is not the majority of the energy that I was getting. I was clearly hearing the word heartache, and I hear the word counselor. So there are some of you that have gone through a unpleasant experience emotionally, and you are being urged to see, I actually have a bit of a pain here. You're being urged, that's my left side, you're being urged to go and seek help or seek a counselor. Counselor is the word that came up. If you know of someone who has gone through, that you're connected to, through either a loss, and it doesn't have to be a loss of someone who's passed on. It could be a loss of a spouse because they are gone, loss of a significant other, or it could be a loss of a job. It could be loss of a pet. And there was a heartbreak that followed. I feel like someone needs a mental and emotional pick-me-up, because I feel somebody in this position, in this position. So if you are that person, please get yourself some help. And I'm being shown the card of the devil, which is signifying to me that you might have a tendency to reach for things that are unhealthy in order to deal with your loss or with your heartbreak. You're being urged to seek professional help, like a counselor, or whoever would be appropriate based on your situation, okay? I'm being shown a hook here. Why am I being shown a hook? The only thing that comes up to me is that you're still hooked to what has happened, and you need to unhook yourself for your own well-being. So I did say earlier that it felt like many of you have been dealing with troublesome waters before July. I did say that. And July is going to be a lot calmer than what you're used to. This could very well stem from those turbulent waters that I was mentioning at the very beginning. And they're saying, seek help, okay? I'm seeing someone taking a drink and then smashing the drink against a wall or against the floor. So some of you have anger issues, and you may want to talk to somebody to help you figure out how to manage your anger, okay? Anger is obviously what's the word, please? Manifestation of a deeper emotion. Anger is manifestation of a hurt emotion, more often than not. So again, that would be under the umbrella, seek help of a counselor, very important. I just saw the number 5. So 5 is number of change. So what I'm going to say is that a change is on the way, or things need to change for you. So very specific messages. Obviously, it's not going to affect everyone or connect with everyone. But if you have any heart problems or heart palpitations, if you have heart difficulty with breathing, if you are working on a construction and maybe you're working in a lot of dust, maybe that's contributing to your breathing. If you have any challenges with a heartbreak that has happened in the past and you are having difficulty dealing with it, and especially if you're reaching for other ways that are not healthy for you, like a drink or drugs or anything else that's overused and abused, you're being asked and urged to seek outside help, professional help, or counseling or guidance. Okay? And I think that's all I have. I hope this made sense to you. Overall, it looks like a good month. And even with the heartbreak, you're moving away from it. And, you're going to seek help for those of you who this applies. So if you would like to comment how this affects you, I will be more than happy to read it. I always read every comment, even though I don't always reply. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for listening. I wouldn't do this without you. I always say this. And if this doesn't make sense to you, certainly at the beginning of July, it won't. Listen to it at the end of July and maybe towards August. And also listen to your other signs, because they will probably offer you a much more complete picture. And of course, if you would like to have a session with me to see how things are going on for you, or if you want to address some of your own situations, that information is down below, and I will be honored to have a session with you. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in August, and have yourself a great July. Take care.